I really thought there's a chance that we could get this episode done in one video. But I guess I should have been smarter with picking my host if I'd really wanted to make that a reality. I should have probably made Merch or somebody my co-host. We could have probably flown a little bit quicker, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yammering, lots of yammering.
All right, let's go ahead and
I
let's
think the
get into.
crowd. I think the crowd would be disappointed if there was only one video. I
They
think we
might
have
be.
would have an upset audience.
Let us know in the comments. Go ahead and comment on our YouTube video, like, share, and rinse and repeat, as they might say. Uh, Let us know if you prefer the one or two video. All right,
I
well,
think
let's
we're
go
up
ahead.
to
Let's
three
get.
subscribers online. I think we're up to 3 subscribers online now. Look
That's
at that
wild.
number.
That's an increase by like 150% from last week. That's wild.
Yeah, it actually is. It is crazy. All right, let's get it.
All right, let's do some matchups. Are you aware of what we did last year or last week? Um,
I'm not.
I'm not either. We might have to send that in a text later.
We'll figure it out at the end.
All right.
I can't
Well,
even remember who I picked last week.
let's get into our matchup, yours versus me. I alluded to this, but I am not very confident in my team this week. It does help that you are a little banged up at running back. It does help that Marvin Harrison leaves the game for you. Um, but I am going to give you the edge this week. I just think that you're just got a little bit more firepower coming to play, especially from the receiver position. In Agbuka and George Pickens, Devonta Smith. So I do give you the edge. What I really don't like this week for me is the uh, matchups for two of my running backs. So Ken Bone Walker, he faces the Rams, which are shutting down the run, and Kyle Monangai, who is still splitting snaps with Swift. And that Minnesota run defense has been kind of stepping up over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So I'm really nervous about how that's actually going to come out to play. I hope they can prove me wrong, but I don't have very much confidence. So I give you the edge.
I wouldn't be surprised if you beat me. I think it's gonna be tight, but I'm gonna give myself the edge as well. This is a pretty big matchup. One of us is gonna be at 6-5, and one falls to 5-6. And with only 3 weeks left after this week, it's a pretty big matchup to come out on the right side of. RJ Harvey getting the starting not you. I'm crossing my fingers because you never know what happens in the Denver running back situation. But now that Dobbins is out, you would think RJ Harvey is gonna get the majority of the looks. I still have no clue about my second running back position, but overall, I think you kind of touched on it as far as I just like my receivers to get me the dub. I like the receiving core that I have right now. They're all back. Nobody's on bye. Well, with the exception of Mar being out, they're all ready to roll. I like the George Pickens matchup on Monday night at Las Vegas. I could see me being down just a little bit on heading into Monday night. I don't think you have anybody playing in that game. Cowboys or Raiders. No, you do not. I could see myself being down just a little bit, and I could see George Pickens have a big Monday night against that Raiders defense. I like myself to get to six and
Yeah.
five.
And what I was saying earlier about is playing Mason Taylor strictly for the fact that he's playing on Thursday to give myself an idea of where my team would be is because, I already don't have confidence in my running backs. Ricky Pearsall could play this week. Is it smart to play him on his first week back? No, but I might need that upside. Uh, Deontay Thornton, the speedster rookie for the Raiders, plays that Dallas defense on Monday night. I might need that. I might need to shoot, uh, for the stars on that one. So that's the only reason why I'm maybe thinking Mason Taylor on Thursday night. But I think we kind of edge that out, and I'll just go ahead and play Dawson Knox and hope that Stephon Diggs busts for you on Thursday night, and I'll just use it as the same way. But anyways, that's my thinking on that. But anyways,
The
no need to.
one, the one, the one thing I am worried about, Achan having a huge week last week. Does he have some momentum rolling? The Dolphins did end up beating the Bills. Do they have a little momentum rolling? Are they? I'm not saying they're trying to save Mike McDaniel's job or whatever, but do they have a little momentum going? Sunday morning games are usually ugly, but how good is Washington's run defense or defense in general? It's not that great,
They're
is it?
they're not that great.
Like if anybody in our matchup has weak winning ability, it's Achan, and you got him. So does he put up another 40 burger and kill me on that Sunday morning game, kind of like JT did to Scat Pack this past week? Hopefully not. I would take even like 20 or 25 from Achan and be satisfied if even if he does that to me on Sunday morning.
We can only hope. We can only hope.
No,
All right,
but
let's go ahead and go
let's
to the
move
next
on.
one. We have Merch Luck versus Louis. Um, I know I know that I was mm, I you were giving Louis the little bit of, confidence boost getting his players back, but I actually am gonna have Merch Luck beating him this week. You know, I don't know. It's
I agree. I agree. I think it's. I think
I
Jay
don't know
Louis is going to be
why.
fine in the long run, and he's getting his players back, and he's going to get to the playoffs and all that good stuff. But I do agree, Merch Luck is going to win this week. You can give your analysis on whatever you want, but I got Merch Luck as well.
Yeah, and I don't even remember why, looking at it earlier, why I gave him the win. I know that, um, you know, uh, Puka Nacua faces a good Seattle defense. Rasheed Rice faces a really good Denver defense. Um, and then he still has to make that decision on if Geno Smith, one, if he plays, and if he does, is he worth starting in that QB2 spot, in that super flex spot. So you might have to rely on people like, Jacoby Myers. But yeah, I just think it's easier for Merch just to have Jamar Chase versus that really volatile Pittsburgh defense. And James Cook, we already mentioned that. Here's a good chance that he just gashes that Tampa Bay run defense like it's been happening. So
I'm just scrolling down their lineups just to see if they have everybody inserted. It seems for the most part they do. Tyler Warren is on bye for Merch, which hurts that tight end, but I just still I mean Hunter Henry can provide serviceable numbers. It hasn't been happening here in the past couple of weeks. But then Jay Louis starting Dalton Schultz at tight end, so that kind of evens out. Doesn't give anybody an advantage
I don't know.
unless he. But
Have you
no, he's
seen
got other
Dalton
tight.
Schultz?
No, he's got other tight end options, so he might be subbing somebody in yet.
Have you seen Dalton Schultz's numbers over the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Is he performing better?
He's
You would
he's
think.
not
I have the Texans on the TV every Sunday, and yeah,
eight, 18, 13, 4, 18, 11. I mean, those are pretty good tight end numbers in my
yeah.
book.
Shit, I didn't know it was that high numbers. That's not bad. But I still got Merch. I just think that he's going to find a way to get the dub. His two quarterbacks can't perform really any worse than they did last week, so you would think they got to turn it around a little bit. I got Merch in a tight one.
Sweet. Um, we'll go ahead and we'll move to the daughter-in-law, father-in-law matchup. Dino faces Pigskin Princess, and
Nice.
you know, Alyssa still needs to move Dak Prescott up and back into the starting lineup. But
Can we
even
make a
with
request that people set their lineups before we do this? Like, can y'all, if you're listening, can you at least throw together a little bit of a
yeah,
starting lineup for us, just to
it
give us an
doesn't have to be
idea?
final. Just try.
Yeah, it
But
would make it a little bit easier.
even with that, she's still gonna have to start somebody like Dylan Sampson or Kenneth Gainwell. She already has Mac Hollins in the lineup, which could be good. But Jackson Dart will not be playing, and so Dak Prescott goes in there. So never mind, I didn't see that. So she will have to start both Dylan Sampson and Kenneth Gainwell, and for that fact alone is why I give the edge to Dino, whose old men are just rolling down the hill. So
Well, see, here's the problem though, because she still has Xavier Worthy on her bench, so she doesn't have to start Dylan Sampson, right? Yeah, she could put Dak for Dart and then Dylan Sampson out for Xavier Worthy. So she
Right.
doesn't have to start them both. But
But she's still starting Gainwell and Mac Hollins. So
yeah, and Johnny Smith at tight end. And Dino's got Trey McBride at tight end. You would think that's a big week incoming, as we talked about earlier. I think even with the few substitutions that Princess has to do yet, Dino's gonna keep the train rolling after what he put up 146. I think
some
Dino's gonna
yeah.
keep the train rolling. Although Stafford and Adams have a tough matchup. They have a tough matchup. Chubb is being phased out in Houston. It's Woody Marks. Woody Marks had 80% of the snaps this past week. But even with that, I think Dino has the edge here. Dino has the edge. I think his team's going to keep rolling, get to 6-5. Homecoming 63.
Cool. We'll go on to the next matchup, and we have Tidal Wave versus Money Muscle. Um, and well, let's see. So Dobbins is
But
out for Money Muscle, so he's gonna have to start somebody like a Devin Singletary, which he can't because he has Tyrone Trace. I mean, you can start both
oh no, he
running
did this past week. He did against me this past week, and he beat
the
me with it.
Giants.
Yeah, he started them both, and it wasn't actually a bad thing. They both scored double digits.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't really matter. Well, or he can move Tajay Spears up and play receiver, and that's what you could do. You could play Jaden Higgins. So, yeah. Now that I'm actually going to give the nod to Money Muscle over Tidal Wave. Tidal Wave with that Broncos stack, which is like you said, it gave them 10 points total, and they face a really good defense in KC. That offense has just been kind of a little shaky in terms of the passing game. Kamani Vidal, he faces a really good Jacksonville run defense. And so unless Drake May can really put up like a huge number tomorrow night, I just think that the players like JSN and Mariota is always good, and Brock Bowers, like those guys will carry the load for Money Muscle and get him up to 9-2 this week.
I'm still deciding who I'm going to pick. I'm going to talk my way through this a little bit. Mariota does not have a bad matchup against that Miami defense. I know they shut down the Bills, but the Miami defense is not nothing to be afraid of. So he could put up a decent amount of points for what a backup quarterback, what you're expecting. I think Brock Bowers on Monday night. I think this is a really high scoring matchup between these two. Hopefully, Swift plays for Money Muscle. Looks like he will. Looks like he's just being limited again because he's been having a decent year. He does have a tough matchup against Minnesota, but he has been having a decent year. I think Brock Bowers on Monday night probably has a really big game for the Raiders against that terrible Cowboys defense. And, the Raiders probably are going to have to be throwing quite a bit to keep up with the Cowboys offense. I guess that would be on Money Muscle side, kind of what I'm thinking. They both have a really big piece on bye. Chris Olave is out for Money Muscle, and Jonathan Taylor is probably the biggest person that you could have on bye. And Tidal Wave is missing him. He's starting two tight ends currently, Theo Johnson and Luke Musgrave in a matchup against each other. Odunze could get a lot of looks with DJ Moore out. It's a tough call here. Whoever wins this week, or whoever loses, really shouldn't be concerned. It's just a matter of who comes out on top this week. I bet it's really high scoring. Probably the winner of this matchup is actually the high point for the week, if I had to guess. And I'm just gonna go with Tidal Wave because it's hard to bet against him right now. Even with Jonathan Taylor out, I think his other guys are able to pick up enough of that slack and still perform, edge out Money Muscle in a really high scoring one. I gave me
Deal.
Tidal.
Good deal. All right, we'll go on the next one. We have Schlydog facing Team Mason. And as crazy as it sounds, and this is going to be dependent actually, because right now he still has Mac Jones in his quarterback two spot. And I'm still not sure if Schley understands that Superflex doesn't mean QB like a two quarterback league. If you, I'm still not sure if he understands that you can put somebody else in that spot. Let
And
us
you
know in the
know he's not.
comments.
You know he's not going to listen. He doesn't listen to this, correct?
No.
Okay, you know he's not
So
going to listen. So even if you're giving out advice, it's
yeah,
not like
he's
it's
not
going to matter.
listening. Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all let us know in the comments if the league should bring that to Schley Dog's attention or just let him figure it
No,
out.
no.
Um,
Let him
but
figure it out.
anyways, if he does somehow know that and he puts somebody else in, I'm actually going to give Schley Dog the win this week. Like you said, high scoring on Monday night, CeeDee Lamb, Caleb Williams in the Minnesota game. I think that game is also going to be pretty high scoring. And so I like that. And then his flex spots, Michael Wilson gets an uptick in targets with Marvin Harrison out. And then Keon Coleman also gets a higher target share because of the loss of Kincaid. So I like that on that side. I don't have much confidence in Justin Fields anymore. He could go off for 40 points any given week, but I just don't. Um, Shakir is banged up. I don't know. Well, now I might have to revert. I don't know. I don't know. What am I doing? Is Brock Purdy going to play this week?
It looks like it.
Okay, I
I
didn't
I
know
haven't
that.
read.
Earlier, it looked like he wasn't not, or I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm
Well,
going
I'll give you time
Mason.
to
I'm
think. I'll give you time to think. Say it again.
okay.
I'll give you time to think. I'm going with Mason. I I see where you're coming from on Schlydog's part, but the I mean, are we confident that he's going to sub somebody in for Mac Jones? If he doesn't, Mason's obviously the matchup tilts in his favor. Caleb Williams has a toughish matchup against Minnesota. I know what you're saying about Justin Fields, but you never know if he could get the rushing game going on Thursday night football. I just think Mason's team has to come alive at some point. It's too talented. There's a reason he's projected for 132 because he has good players. And I just think eventually it's got to happen after hitting rock bottom this past week. I think it comes together this week and he gets the win over Schlydog. So I don't know what you want to, if you
No,
want to change your opinion,
I am
stick with your gut.
1000% doing a 160 and I'm picking Mason only because I did come up with one of my bold predictions earlier before we
The
started
old
recording.
160, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, the 160. And
Yeah.
uh and that bold prediction has a lot to do with how the outcome of this game will be. So, and I'll let you know what that is later on. But yeah, it's definitely Team Mason for me now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more. And yeah,
The
and I don't
outcome
even
of what
know.
game?
So, huh?
The outcome of what game?
Of this matchup, the bold prediction will have a lot to do
Oh, the
with this
bold
matchup.
prediction. Okay, I didn't realize you're making a bold prediction for this one. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
All
We
right,
got
so we
both.
both
We
picked
both got
Mason.
Mason. Go ahead. Next one.
C Mike versus talk about a win. Projected to be pretty high scoring and pretty close. I'm trying to remember honestly who I had. I had um C Mike actually taking this dub. That Detroit Philly game should be pretty exciting. He's got that nice Detroit stack in that one. Travion Henderson probably will apt just go bananas tomorrow night against that decimated Jets defense. Um, Aronde Gadsden is healthy to play again, so that's a big good luck. And then Trey Tucker, the deep bomb threat against that Dallas defense, I really do like. And then you look across the board, and he's actually got really really great matchups. Talk about a win. I mean, you have Jalen Warren
Greg
going.
has really good matchups.
Yeah, he's got Jalen Warren goes against Cincinnati. He's got Jahmyr Gibbs. He's got Nico Collins going against Tennessee. He's got all that stuff, except his quarterback play. It's just like Bryce Young, and that's probably what it's going to come down to. Is Bryce Young could easily give him the win this week, and he will underperform against Atlanta and probably cost him.
I got C Mike. I wanted to pick Greg. I wanted to pick Greg because his matchups are great. I'm gonna go with C Mike just because Bryce Young. Let's see his rest of his bench. Yeah, he doesn't really have it. Chuck would be the insert, but he's on bye, and he doesn't really have anybody else to just put JJ McCarthy in the quarterback and then start somebody else in the super flex spot. So he has to play Bryce Young the way it looks, and I Bryce Young just doesn't give me much confidence. That could be the difference, kind of like you touched on, and I'm gonna give C Mike the edge because of that.
Sweet. Let's go ahead and get into our last matchup. We have Stalin and Ballin versus Scat Pack. Again, I went through all these earlier and I made my predictions and then I couldn't remember how I felt about them all. Um, mm,
I'm
this it's
going. I'm going Scat Pack. I just don't think there's enough talent on Stahl's side. Just overall, I'm not sure if CJ Stroud plays this week. Did he?
Yeah, I don't think so because I think that's what I had predicted. Um, yeah,
So without him, he's gonna have to play Cam Ward or just a regular position player. Garrett
yeah.
Wilson's out now. Dalton Kincaid is out. I just think there's not enough points on Stahl's side, and I think that on Scat Pack's side,
Yeah.
it comes down to the
No,
two quarterbacks. I say this every week, but you got Josh Allen and Justin Herbert.
yeah.
That's enough for
It's
me to
hard to
say that.
beat.
Yeah, it's enough for me to say Scat Pack.
Yeah, I've got Scat Pack, Josh Allen, and then even against kind of bad matchups, Brees Hall and Chase Brown will probably do enough to keep the boat afloat. And then, you've got the likes of AJ Brown, George Kittle, big playmakers. Whereas you said across the board, we're relying on PPR guys like Demario Douglas and Parker Washington to get the job done, which could lead to a win. But I'm just going to go ahead and side with the roster that has the most talent. So it's Scat Pack for me too. And
I
that does
agree.
it
I agree.
for the matchups. We'll go ahead and total those totals up. We'll have to remember what we did last week and
That's fine. We got enough time. Let's go through last week's predictions real quick
oh
and see
boy.
if we can remember what our record was.
All right. Well, I picked me versus Pigskin.
I don't remember who I picked. Don't remember. I
I
want
think
to
you picked me.
say I picked you. I picked you, and I got that one right. But my matchup, I picked me, and I didn't get that right. And you got Money Muscle right.
I got Money Muscle. So I'm 2-0. You're 1-1.
Yes, we both
Merch
picked.
Luck versus Talk About a Win. I don't remember. I would want to think that I picked Merch Luck, but I don't remember.
I'm pretty positive I picked Greg to upset him because I was worried about the Chargers' offense against the Pittsburgh defense, is what I said, I think. Although
Okay.
they did all right. His Chargers received Vlad did all right, but
We might have to verify all this after we get done recording, but let's just go ahead and say that's the case. We're 2-1 apiece.
yeah, I
Uh
think I picked Greg, but you picked Merch, so we're both at 2-1.
3-1. We both picked Tidal Wave, I'm sure. Um
Who did he
I'm
face?
Scat Pack.
Yeah, so
And
three and
then the
one.
the next one, I'm pretty certain that I gave C Mike the edge over Sly Dog. I want to
Yeah, we
say
did. We did. So that's what, 4-1?
4-1. And then for Stalling a Ball and Mason, I'd have to think we picked Mason.
Yeah, I know I picked Mason there. So that's five and
So
two. No,
four and
four and
two.
two.
Four and
And then
two.
Jay Louie and Dino.
I don't remember.
I I'm pretty sure I picked Jay Louie because I said Dino, he gives us confidence and all of a sudden he lets us down. And so
And I want
I
to.
couldn't pick.
I think I might have picked Dino. I think we might have split on that one. But like I
I
said, we'll
think you picked
verify.
Dino, which would have put you at 5 and 2 and me at 4 and 3.
Cool. All right. So that gives me another until we verify one more above you. I was already one or two above you.
I was. 7 times 9, right? 9 weeks. I was 33 and 31. So now I'm 37 and 34. I'm 37 and 34. You were 35 and
29.
29.
And that means I'm
So now
40
you're
and
40,
31.
40 and 31. 40 and 31 compared to 37 and 34. You got a, did I say that right? 40 and 31 compared to 37 and 34. You got a 3 game lead on me. You're building it
I'll take
up,
it.
building it up. You've had a good run here recently. We are both above 500 at least.
Doing great.
Save
Doing
pace a
great.
little bit
We
after a
love that.
terrible start. We're not going to verify that. We're just going to go with it.
All right, we'll go with it. We'll do that. All right. Well, that does it for our matchup predictions. Um, I don't know. I guess we'll just go ahead and go into the bold predictions. Did you come up with anything fun?
Well, what were let's since we got enough time, what was the bold predictions from last week? Who played on Thursday night? Who played last
Good
Thursday night?
good question. It was a dud. It was that Denver versus Raiders. I had the Denver defense, and you had RJ Harvey,
Yes. And neither
and
one of those came true.
because
It
nobody
was a
wanted to
dud. It was
score.
a dud. And I don't even remember what else I predicted. I don't think I might have not even predicted anything else.
I want
I
to
think I
say I
said
probably
the
threw.
the, the
Yeah, there
Chargers
was.
and Steelers game was going to be low scoring, 25-10. There wasn't going to be much going on there, which 25-10 really isn't too much going on, but there was a little bit of action on the Chargers side. I don't remember what else you said.
I really couldn't tell you. I'm like looking through all the matchups to see if it rings a bell on anything, but no, I really don't know. I might actually have to go back and listen to our episode. Ew.
Mm. I used to do that and I've stopped to recently. I'm gonna have to start. I think that's what helped me remember stuff so well.
Well,
I do not have an actual ball prediction yet, so I'm thinking about first touchdown. So let's do first touchdown for tomorrow night first.
all right. So I still can't. I'm having trouble to deciding. It's going to be a rushing touchdown for the Patriots, and it's either going to be a 6 yard run for Travion Henderson or it's going to be a 3 yard run for Drake May. And I want to go with Travion Henderson. Let's just say Travion Henderson for a 6 yard run. That's what I'm gonna go with.
It almost has to be a Patriots first touchdown. I would like to see the odds on the Jets first touchdown. I'm gonna go with the Patriots. I'm gonna pull a U from last week. Patriots defense. Patriots defense. Or special teams. Some kind of no, not even special teams, just Patriots defense.
Defense, I can see that.
Pick pick six. Pick six. I think a pick six, but it's some kind of Patriots defense.
Christian Gonzalez pick six.
Pick six. I think that's a good pick. I also like your rushing touchdown prediction. You said Travion Henderson.
Yeah,
I
I'll
think
go
I
with it.
think that's a solid. I think Henderson's a solid pick, whether it's a rush or even a catch out of the backfield. I think that's a solid pick too. So you would think those got to be some pretty safe odds because it just seems like the likely touchdown.
Yeah.
That's
Um.
setting up to be an ugly game tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm disappointed because, like I said, I haven't really gotten to watch a full Patriots game. Watch Drake May. All I've seen is kind of box scores and stuff, and I kind of wanted to watch him like play against a better team. But what are you gonna
You're not
do?
going to get the full effect of him tomorrow night.
No.
Mike's going to rack up some points with Travion Henderson,
Hmm.
especially with Stevenson out.
You got any other bold predictions?
You go ahead and give me whatever you were talking about earlier.
Okay, so that one was it seems like every week the Bears are in a constant shootout, high scoring game with no matter who they play. So I do think that JJ McCarthy actually finds his footing this week. And Justin Jefferson, it's funny that you brought him up earlier in the episode because I already had this all planned out. But Justin Jefferson will have a game against the Bears. I'm going to go with 160 and 160 yards and
Ooh,
2 touchdowns for Justin Jefferson this week. So,
we better pick. Did we pick Mason to win?
oh, that's why I had to switch it because I remembered that
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
predicting
that's
that.
right. Sorry, I
So
wasn't
Mason.
listening as close until I heard those numbers. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say. I think. Ooh, let's see here. Who could I pick one for? This one actually goes against my prediction and against me because he's on your team. I think Woody Marks has a great game against that Tennessee defense.
That was my second one.
Don't facepalm me. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say it. I didn't thought you were saying no, it's not. No,
No,
it yeah,
my I'll let you have it, but my
no,
exact
say it.
prediction
Say it. Say it.
200 yards from scrimmage. Maybe
It's
120, maybe 120 on the ground and 80 through the air. Booty marks. That's what I was gonna
some
say.
wild numbers are possible because he had 80% of the snaps. That Titans defense is terrible. You would think the Texans are winning. He's going to get a lot of touch. He's going to get a chance to prove himself. I'm not going to add any more on him, but I think he has a big week. I think probably like, especially with Jonathan Taylor out, like Woody Marks could be the RB. Well, if he puts
Four.
up your numbers, I was going to say RB3 on the week.
I would be happy if him and Achan could both fit in the top five. That might help me throughout the week, but we'll see. I mean,
Oh shit! Now I'm in trouble. But yeah, he's got a chance. He's got a chance to do some good things. If I think of anything else, we can stop or we can just run this time out and continue talking so they get the full extra 40 minutes of us. Talk about talk about Woody Marks as far as for his future. What do you think Woody Marks' future holds? Is he the guy in Houston for future years?
I mean, you really can't ever predict a lowly drafted but highly efficient running back. It just really depends on injuries. It depends on, because the Texans have to fix this offensive line. Like, and they try to do that through trading or through the kind of free agency, and it didn't work. So, if they have somebody that's going to work for them in the running back room, they're going to have to fix that line issue, stuff like that. So, I don't know if he's long
He's
term,
doing this
short
with a
term.
bad offensive line. He's doing this with a bad offensive line.
Right.
So what could he do with a good offensive line?
Yeah. Well, we're kind of seeing that with Jonathan Taylor. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was pretty good even when like their offensive line couldn't do anything. And now that he actually has an offensive line, it's wild.
Yeah. I do catch a break in our matchup that Danny Dimes and Michael Pittman are on by. I forgot to mention that earlier. That's a big help for me. My thing with Woody Marks for being he wasn't drafted that low. They traded up to get him, and he was drafted in the third or
The third,
I think
fourth,
third, fourth, somewhere in there. So it wasn't like he was a sixth or seventh rounder. And things couldn't have played out any better for him. Joe Mixon might never play again, the way it seems. Chubb scared nobody from the beginning. That was a signing that scared nobody from the beginning. And then Damian Pierce, he fizzled out, and Woody Marks has, stepped right in, and he's been a little spark plug for the Texans because their offense after the first few weeks was pretty dead in the water, and he's shown some signs of life. I think they have to give him the opportunity throughout the rest of this season to be the guy. They gave him 80% of the snaps this past week. And I think that they've got to do that for the rest of the year. If we're being honest, the Texans, they have no shot of being successful this year. It's even if they stay kind of close to the playoff chase, they're going nowhere this year. They have to give him the chance to see if he's going to be the guy of the future. And if they do decide that they need to beef up the O line, both for the running game and pass protection, because CJ Stroud is always running for his life as well. And it just the offensive line's got to be cleaned up. But I think Woody Marks has a chance for the rest of the year to show what he's got and be the guy going into future years. So I have him in our other dynasty. You have him here, and I'm pretty excited about that. And if you're listening and have him in any other league for dynasty purposes, I think he's got a chance to be the guy in Houston and have some successful years. Which there was a chance of that happening, but you really couldn't believe it until now that it's actually happening. It's kind of fun to see.
Yeah, no, it's fun just to root for an underdog too, like somebody who doesn't really profile as like your grade A1 top of the high school recruiting class and the top of the college recruiting class and all that. Just kind of plays his way onto the field in college and then puts up a lot of production there and then like gets drafted by a team and he's starting to showcase it there as well. So um, we might see that kind of same story in Kyle Monangai in Chicago. I can only hope for that as well to keep that story alive.
Yeah,
It's just fun.
you hit on some late rookie running backs with those two. I was hoping Brashard Smith in Kansas City could have turned into some production like that, but that has not been the case. I was not expecting Brashard Smith to be a every down back like Woody Marks and Monangai have the chance to be, but Brashard Smith may be the Jerick McKinnon type role. That has not come to fruition yet. We'll see what happens out of the bye this week if Isaiah Pacheco is still out. I think the last thing I want to wrap up, make sure you are aware the trade deadline is this week after this week's games are completed. There are no more trades. The trade deadline is this week. I thought this I thought that was standard. I think I left it as the standard setting. Our other dynasty is week 12. It's one more week. I
Hmm.
think I didn't change that setting. So I guess week 11 was what the standard was when Sleeper set up our league. Set the over under on the amount of trades that are going to happen in this last week before the trade deadline hits. What are you going to set the over under at as far as
One and
trades
a half.
happening? I think that's a good number. And I think I'm going to take the
I think only
I
one
think I'm going to
trade.
take the I think I'm going to take the under. I think there's one trade that's going to happen the rest of the
One
week.
trade gets finalized. There's probably going to be a lot of offers and a lot of conversation, but I still feel like there's a lot of league mates that we have here that maybe don't quite understand the full scope of dynasty yet, which is okay. It's a learning curve sometimes, but a lot of people don't realize how to rebuild or when to put all your chips in the middle of the table or when to pull back or you know sometimes they analyze trades and what is strict value for value instead of what is your team needs, what is your team's future needs, things like that. So I think a lot of those uncertainties and hesitancies are going to get in the way of what may be some good trades that are left on the table. So
I agree with that. And I also think even if you are a more experienced dynasty player, I think this league is a little bit unorthodox, like we talked about, and even experienced dynasty people are still trying to feel out what needs to be done in this league, and you don't want to make a decision in the moment that can cost you in the future. And so maybe let the season play out, go into the rookie draft, let one full season be completed, and then you might start seeing some more trades next year. But everybody's still trying to feel it out as far as how this league is going to work out for this trade deadline. So that's about all I got. We made it. We made it.
we made it. All right. Well, guys, you have a beautiful week. It's gotten a little chilly over the last couple of days. Hope you are all staying warm out there, and we look forward to another good week of